I said that I was gonna tell y'all what happened last night with my neighbor. This light is so damn bright in my face. I have one of those lights on my camera, but normally I'm shooting somewhere else, not myself, and it's in my face. It's so bright. I could turn it down, but I just keep it on the settings I got it on. Try not to change it, just keep it where I got it. Let me give you a little backstory on how I even met her. I think her name is Lydia. I think that's what she said her name is. Something that starts with L. I think it's Lydia. When I was moving into this apartment from my old apartment on the other side of the complex, and from the 3rd floor, now I'm on the 1st floor. I got my keys on the 13th of last month, December, but I didn't actually spend my first night here until the 14th because I had to wait for my furniture to be moved, and I didn't get my movers until the 14th. Once I got the movers, I only had the movers for 2 hours. Because you know, anybody that has moved and used movers, you pay them by the hour. And they're so expensive. And unless it's like a long distance move, or like literally moving from apartment to apartment at least, it doesn't make any sense to spend all that money. But I didn't have anybody that could help me move the furniture or really anything. But I needed the furniture to be moved, so I didn't really have a choice. But I only had them for 2 hours. So 2 hours is just enough time for them to move the furniture from my old apartment to this apartment. Everything else I had to move. I had already started moving boxes by myself. Earlier that day, before the movers got here, I was taking like 2 or 3 boxes at a time by hand because I don't drive, so I didn't have a car to put them in. So I was literally going back and forth. And from the other apartment to this one, it's a long walk, especially with boxes, and doing it back and forth for hours. But I did what I had to do because I didn't have anybody to help me, and my mom and my son didn't come until the next day. I started moving boxes the day before, on the 13th. Once I got the keys, I started moving boxes to this apartment. At the end of the first day, she was walking her dog way on the other side where my old apartment is, and she was like, I saw you moving boxes earlier. I have a wagon if you would like to use it, that'll make it easier for you. And I was like, yes please. She was like, keep it as long as you need it. I was like, yeah, because I gotta finish tomorrow. At this point it's nighttime. I was like, I gotta finish tomorrow. So she was like, yeah, keep it as long as you need it. The next day that wagon came in handy. Like I said, the movers didn't come until later that day. So that wagon helped me so much, and I was able to move other stuff that wasn't boxes also because it would fit in the wagon. So then after the movers left, my mom and my son, they came, helped me move, but I was still using the wagon. We were using my mom's car and the wagon. That's how I met her. A few weeks ago, the day before Christmas Eve, I needed to go get some groceries from Publix because I didn't have any food. And she had already told me, she's like, whenever you need the wagon, just let me know, you can use it. I saw her walking her dog outside, and I asked her, could I use her wagon? And she was like, yeah, it's fine, I'll bring it to you. So I used it that day, Christmas Eve. So I knew I needed to go get some groceries today. So I had already planned yesterday to walk up to her apartment because she literally lives above me. I had already planned to go ask her, could I use her wagon today to go get some groceries? But I saw her out walking her dog yesterday, and I asked her, could I use it? She was like, yeah, I'll bring it down to you. She has this big ass dog. Big dog. He's a beautiful dog, but he's big as hell. And he's really aggressive, like really aggressive. Like when I went to ask her for the wagon yesterday, I'm literally standing 10-15 feet away from her. First of all, I'm not an animal person. I don't do animals. I will not touch an animal. If I get close to an animal, I feel physically dirty. Like, I'm just not an animal person, and I'm not gonna apologize for that because not everybody is an animal person. Animals are beautiful, some of them, but not everybody is an animal person, and I'm just not. Although I did have a rabbit. I do want to get another one, but rabbits are easy. I definitely don't. I'm not a dog. I'm not going to pet your dog. So I'm not going to get close to the dog, even if it's a small dog. I'm just not an animal person. But I already knew her dog was aggressive. So I'm literally standing 10, 15 feet away from her. And her dog tries to lunge at me. And again, this is a big ass dog. And she has to pull him to keep him from lunging at me. She brings me the wagon. And me and her had already talked a little bit when she let me use the wagon the first time and a little bit the second time. So she was standing in my apartment by the door and we were talking about little stuff, you know, just little casual conversation, just getting to know each other as neighbors and possibly friends. She apologized for her dog being really loud because, again, her apartment is right above mine. And I hear her dog all the time, like just running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And like I said, he's a big ass dog. So it literally sounds like furniture is being dragged. And I hear him all the time. And I also told y'all he's very aggressive. She was like, I'm sorry for my dog being so loud. I'm like, it's fine. I'm trying to get used to it. But he does drive me absolutely crazy with how loud he is running back and forth. I'm going to say this also. Anybody that has a big ass dog and you live in an apartment or a condo, anything that is more than one floor, you should be on the bottom floor because you got to be mindful that there are people under you when you're on a floor that's higher than them and they can hear your animal and it's loud and it's a little annoying. And I just think, you know, if you have a big ass animal, you should be living on the first floor. But that's neither here nor there. So I was like, have you ever thought about getting your dog into dog training? Because I've heard people say that it's really good for dogs and for their behavior. She was like, yeah, I've tried that and I have him in doggy daycare and none of that really works because they train him differently than I do. I was like, you know, he's a beautiful dog, but he's really aggressive. I was like, did something happen to him to make him be like that? She's like, yeah, he's a rescue and he was abused. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I was like, okay, because, you know, he's just so aggressive and, you know, I'm afraid of your dog. But he's a beautiful dog, but he's just so aggressive. And I was like, and most people, their dogs are nice unless you're being aggressive towards the dog or their owner. You know, most dogs, you can walk up to them and pet them. They're very friendly. I've never encountered a dog that is so damn mean and aggressive. But I don't know how dogs are that have been abused, that are rescue dogs that came from bad backgrounds, upbringings. I don't know, but I just feel like it's just no excuse for that kind of behavior. She was like, and that's why I try to keep him away from people. And to me, if I was a dog owner, just to even hear myself say, I can't bring my dog around people because I got to be worried about my dog possibly hurting somebody or trying to lunge at them, I wouldn't want a dog like that. I would want a dog that I can take around people and they're friendly and people don't have to be afraid of them. That's neither here nor there. But if I was a animal person and a dog owner, that would just be me. I wouldn't want a dog like how the dog that she has that's aggressive. Nobody should be afraid of your dog, and it's a pet. Your dog should be friendly, but that's just my opinion. Like, my tone didn't change. I didn't say it in an aggressive way or a mean way. I just was like, you know, your dog is very aggressive. I'm afraid of your dog. And it was like a switch went off in her. She couldn't get out of my apartment fast enough. You yourself said you know that your dog is aggressive and that's why you keep him away from people. So why is it that when I'm telling you your dog is aggressive and I'm afraid of your dog, you're feeling some type of way? She got in her feelings and she was just like, you know, I gotta go, have a good night. But she left the wagon. But I just felt like I didn't say what I said in a mean way, in a rude way. My tone didn't change. I was still being just as friendly. She just didn't like what I was saying, but you just said the same thing yourself. You know what kind of dog you have. You said that's why you keep him away from people. But when I say your dog is aggressive, I'm afraid of your dog, it's a problem. I used the wagon today, and the other 2 times I waited for her to come get it from me. Like the second time, Christmas Eve, she didn't come get the wagon until last week. I had it for like 2 weeks, and I had put it in my closet because I got sick of looking at it out in the open. So I put it in my closet. I was like, well, you know, it'll be here whenever she comes and get it. But this time I didn't like how she got in her feelings and walked out of my apartment when I don't feel like I said anything wrong. I don't feel like I did anything wrong. So after I used the wagon, I just took it up to her apartment and I sat it outside her door. Like, I didn't knock on the door or nothing. I literally came back, took my groceries out of her wagon and took it upstairs and sat it outside her apartment. And I'm probably not gonna actually use it anymore because I'm just at a point in my life where I want peace. I don't want anybody around me or in my life that I can't be real with. Somebody who I feel like I need to watch what I say, watch how I talk. I gotta feel like if I say this, they're gonna get in their feelings. No. I'm good on her. If I see her, you know, I don't have a problem speaking, hey, how you doing? But, you know, as far as me asking to use her wagon, probably not gonna happen. I'll just figure it out like I was before. And I'm definitely not gonna be overly friendly with her because I already see what it is. So that's what happened, long story short. Or I guess just long story because this is 13 minutes and 33 seconds at this point. But that's what happened, which is a shame because, you know, I would have loved to have had a friend. I haven't made no friends in the 4 years that I've been living here, and everybody on this side of the apartment complex so far seems nice. The few people that I've talked to, she seemed really nice, but you know, you're getting in your feelings and you know what I'm saying is right because you're saying the same thing about your own dog and you know what kind of dog you have. You should just be agreeing like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry that you're afraid of my dog. I don't want you to be afraid of my dog. I'm working on that. I'm trying to get him to behave better. But you shouldn't get mad at me because I'm telling you how your dog makes me feel. And you know you have an aggressive dog. You know your dog is mean. You said it yourself. That's why you keep him away from people. You know, like... And I wasn't saying it in a mean way. I wasn't saying it in a rude way. My tone never changed. But it is what it is. That's what happened.